lesson 4 of the Violin Method for Beginners by Poppy Violin Studio. I'm Jamie, and in this video I'm going to show you how to hold the bow. There's two versions of the bow hold that I want to show you today, and the first one is the traditional bow hold, where the thumb goes on the inside, touching the stick just above the frog. And then the other version is the beginner bow hold, where the thumb is actually going to go on the outside of the frog, touching the silver ferrule right here. The fingers are the same for both of these, so it's just the placement of the thumb that differs. I'll leave it up to you to decide which one is more comfortable for you. I will say for younger students who might be learning along with this video, it's probably going to be easier for them to put the thumb on the outside ferrule right there. I'll walk you through holding the bow first, and then I'll give you some details about each finger and how they should be touching on the bow, and then we'll make it again so you can finely tune what you're doing. To make the bow hold, you want to hold the bow in your left hand, so just pinch the stick of the bow like this around the middle, because that's what's going to support the bow as you are placing your fingers on the stick. So if you remember from lesson 1, we learned about the different parts of the bow. If you didn't watch that, you can find a link in the description below for the playlist that has all the videos. To start off, we're going to find a nice relaxed feeling in the hand. Sometimes I tell my students to imagine a wet sock that just came out of the laundry, and you're going to put it on the laundry line right here. Resting those fingers just in a relaxed way so that the wrist is soft and all the fingers are staying pretty relaxed. Then you're going to bring your elbow out to the side a little bit so you can rotate and get these fingers to be more at an angle. So notice how they're square this way, and then they're going to be more at an angle. If you're doing the traditional bow hold, you're going to put your thumb just above the frog, right underneath where there may be some winding or leather on the bow. Don't put it in the frog. So I'll show you in more detail in a moment. Then if you are doing the beginner bow hold, you'll simply put your thumb on the outside of the frog on the silver part. So that is the basic bow hold right there. Chances are that was a little challenging for you because I didn't give you a lot of detail. So I'm going to go through and give you a little more detail so we can finely tune what you're doing. So when you place the thumb in the traditional bow hold, you want it to be on the very tip of the thumb. You don't want it to be on this pad, the fleshy part. When you are looking at the bow, the place where you want to put the thumb is right in this part here. So like I said earlier, do not put it in the frog. That is a common mistake that a lot of beginners make, so they'll try to stick their thumb down here. It's very tempting, but it's not correct. You want to put the thumb right above the frog on that bare spot of the wood. You can see I've actually worn away the leather on my bow because that's where I put my thumb. And remember, it's on the tip top, so I shouldn't see any thumb poking through like this. That's way too far. You want it to be pretty much even with the stick there. And for the beginner bow hold, just put that thumb right there. Next, I'll show you what the two middle fingers do, the ring and the middle finger. They are going to gently hang over the stick of the bow, and it's right about where I can just gently curl my nail joints around like that. And remember, I mentioned the angle of these fingers. So we want more of an angle like this. You don't want to be perpendicular. That's going to make it hard to hold the bow. And if you want to find that angle, you can practice turning a doorknob to get that forearm rotation. That's going to help you to find the angle of those fingers. The way you'll know where the two middle fingers go is by placing the thumb and having a ring that is created by the thumb and the second finger, or the middle finger. So they're about even with each other like that. And then the third finger is just going to go around. So next, if we talk about the pinky, if you get the thumb and the two middle fingers set up well, then the pinky should be able to just rest easily on its tip top, and the pinky is the finger that needs the most support from the other fingers, because what will happen is it will turn rigid and go into a stick. So get those other fingers, the thumb and the two middle fingers, set up well so you can get that pinky to be curved and just lightly touching on the stick. And the pinky, you'll want it to be about even with the bottom of the frog. Then the index is pretty easy. It just sits on the stick. You will use it when you're playing on the string, but you don't want to grab with that index finger, so try not to wrap it around and grab. Just let it rest, and you can practice tapping it there to make sure it's loose. You can practice tapping the pinky. Let's make that one more time now that I've given you some more details. Hold the bow in front of you with your left hand, and you're going to find that floppy wet sock that came out of the washing machine, and just let it rest on the stick. Get some weight in your wrist and your arm. Notice that I'm not higher here. I have my arm and wrist are lower than the stick of the bow. All right, so I've got my fingers nice and relaxed. I'm gonna turn that doorknob so I can get a little angle to the fingers on the stick of the bow, and then pinky is actually already up on its tip top there. Index is relaxed. Then I can place the thumb for the traditional bow hold or the beginner bow hold. Once you've done that, you can try holding the bow upright like this and practice making some soup, move it around. You can do some windshield wipers to work on keeping the fingers in place while the bow is moving, because you're going to be doing that while you're playing, of course. Taking the elevator up and then back down. One last thing I need to show you that I forgot to show you in lesson 1 is how to rosin the bow. Rosin is a sticky substance that often comes in a circular cake like this. Sometimes it will come in a box. What it does is it gives the bow hairs a little more grip on the string, because when you rub the rosin on the hair of the bow, it turns into a sticky white powder that will help the bow hairs grip the string. So if you've tried playing on the string already and it didn't make any sound, you probably need to put some rosin on your bow. That should fix it. I recommend rosining the bow 2 to 3 times a week, depending on where you live. If you live in a climate that's very humid, you may need to be rosining your bow more often. You'll get used to what it feels like to play with the rosin, and when it starts running out, you'll know that you'll need to put more on because your bow won't make any sound on the string. That's it for holding the bow. Lesson 5 is up next. I'm going to show you how to read music, so you should definitely check that out. There's a link in the description below for the playlist that has all of these free YouTube lessons. There's also a link for the Violin Method for Beginners, Book 1, that will follow along with these tutorials, and then you'll also get bonus music for a lot of songs that are going to reinforce the material that we do in these lessons. And then you also have your own copy of all of these lessons. So for this particular bow hold lesson, I have a lot of pictures to help jog your memory when you are practicing on your own of what to do and what not to do. And so I think that you'll find it a great resource. Check that out if you're interested. If you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in lesson 5.